Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Threadlings of Filmmaking Production Diary. I'm Miguel Ortega, and this is Tran Ma.
Hello, everyone.
She's sipping her coffee. So,
So
yeah,
this week has been kind of crazy. So we've had just issues. like, yeah,
yeah, we had to cancel our last stream. Like, not even I don't even want to say midway, but we were getting power outages because of the fires, and it was just kind of nuts because every time it was kicking me off. It wasn't kicking you off. So it wasn't. What was that?
well, it was a combination of a couple of things. Like um, we were having power outages, and so like internet cutting in and out, things like that. But then also like the restream had like updated, and it was doing some weird stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, we're back, and hopefully everything is nice and running. And
In normal.
yes.
Yeah.
So let's see what we got here. We got Feel So Good KZN. Howdy. Howdy. And then Netbug in the house, like always. He is truly like a bug. He's always there. The Netbug, our most loyal friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks guys for coming in. Let me open up what I was working on as well.
So I feel like I've been having kind of some bad luck trying to use in, in the past few times in the stream doing the textures. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna model. So that's what I'm doing. Um, so I've just come back to this, which is this is part of the stage, and I'm just trying to create some cloth. And I had finished creating one set, and I kept trying to texture it, but it just kept falling to like crashing in the stream. So I'm just doing this, which is building, prepping to build the top part. So here, like in Unreal, this part here doesn't have anything, any kind of flooring. And we're probably going to have some like top down shots and things like that. So I, need to construct something here.
Netbug says he lives here.
Yeah, it does. And let's see, I'm going to duplicate this. So to build the cloth, I need to make sure, because it's going to be built in Marvelous, that I actually have like a surface to work with. And so that's what I'm actually doing right now. And so I'll export this into Marvelous. So this is where I want to sim the floor. And I'll duplicate this mesh. So I have an idea to how to do the rest of it. Like I need to understand what I'm trying to make. Hold on. And this mesh actually comes from Unreal. So I've been jumping back, like I jump back and forth. And this is like a very low res version of it. So it's just like kind of a blackout. Okay, so I'll have these two. I'm actually getting confused by my mesh. So I thought I'd clean this up. Okay, let's do this again.
Okay, so let me see.
And let me extrude this again. Okay. So I don't want the mesh to be too big because it will just be difficult to navigate. So what I want to do here is just get a small section. And just delete this stuff here. Okay, so I have that section. And I'll do the same with the flooring here. I don't necessarily need to delete these. I'll just extract this. Okay, so I have my chunk that I'm going to take in. Let's see.
You want to see something pretty cool?
Yeah.
Check this out. So, Ted, what's up? Dicey. Okay, so check this out. Let me put these guys up here. So T3D, which I guess is Ted, and Dicey. What's up, guys? Or girls? Who knows? So okay, so check this out. Can you see?
No, you're not sharing.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, check it out. So, all right, so bada bang.
Oh, that's new, right?
Yeah.
So here's some of the animation block out.
Yeah. This is all animation block out of what's the fight that happened here. Pretty cool though, right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
So I think I'm gonna do like one of those push-ins here, broom, like push into Zort's face. He looks demonic there, which I love that.
Yeah.
And Mayo would of course be back here, but it's gonna be so shallow depth of field that the whole idea here is that you would just see this drop falling up here. So it's not.
So then what happens next after the scene?
Well, you mean after this shot?
Yeah.
So what I want, I think this is too big here. His hands going up. I want him to just run and get scared, right? But he's still running, and then I want Zort to like rise up almost like Magneto with like red lightning bolts or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he just grabs Cot and starts kicking his ass like really hard, right? And then as he's getting his ass whooped, all of a sudden Mayo drops from the ceiling.
Like he does like a wrestling move.
He does a leg drop on him, yeah. Yeah, this is gonna go to just pure stupid WWF wrestling.
Okay, that works.
That's pretty cool. All right, so anyway, go back to Tran.
Well, that's much more exciting than what I'm doing. I sometimes realize how tedious this stuff is.
What are the flashbangs for? You mean the when it goes all to white? Netbug, is that what you meant when it goes to white?
Well, there's no delay. You can just assume that that's what he meant.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to assume that's what he meant. That usually means that from an editing point of view, I need him to run a little bit longer. So I run out of frames, so I just leave it white. I've like trained myself to be able to look past that and be like, he's gonna keep running there, but that's how long I need him to run for. And so it's just going to white. Everyone else is looking at like this. It looks like a flashback, but I'm just imagining more running. So it's a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically you're not sharing if you're trying to
No, I know.
you're it's whatever works for Miguel. I thought you do a lot of the camera work inside of Unreal. Like oftentimes.
No, I do a lot of it in Maya, and then I bring it into Unreal, and then I'll make changes to it in like this will definitely be changed in Unreal once I get to Unreal. But since a lot of this is hand animated, there's no mocap, so I got to give the animator something to animate to.
Yeah.
If it's
Okay.
mocap, it's like, okay, just clean up what's there. He's not framing it to the shot, and since we're paying by the minute, I got to give him. I can't tell him like just animate everything.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah, that doesn't mean that this camera's not going to change at all, but I have a starting point of what I want.
so I'm in ZRush right now. And the reason is I need to make this mesh more dense. So I want to sim like a piece of cloth on Marvelous. Let's pull up this. And that's when I was saying like, oh, this stuff just gets so tedious. But if I'm going to sim on the surface, it needs to be much more dense, like in terms of topology. Because what I notice about Marvelous when it sims, it like looks at the vertices, right? So like doesn't really count, like see the faces. So if you have all this blank space, the cloth would just kind of keep falling through. And just kind of a quick way to do it might just be like Z remesh this thing and see what I get. Yeah, that's a fast way. Looks like I didn't merge some of this. Oh, there's no way for me to know. Let's try this again. And let's make this a little bit denser. I think that might be dense enough. The density of it like depends on the scale. I'm just going to assume it's good. So let's export that. And this I just want to export so I know what things are supposed to look like. And I don't want to bring this whole entire thing in either. Just a section of it. At least this stuff is kind of like easy to delete. What do you think, Miguel?
It's good. It's good. I'll show you what I'm actually doing something. Do it.
Do what?
But whatever you wanted me to see.
No, I'm just like, what do you think?
I'm not paying attention to what you're doing at all. I'm getting what I need for the animator. So this is what I want.
You're not sharing?
I know because I haven't started sharing. so I want like Zord to rise up like super dramatic like this, like literally levitate with like his red lightning all over, right? And now Cod is like, oh shit, and then he just like grabs him by the neck and starts kicking his ass. But I want it to be very Magneto. It would be pretty cool.
So is that what you do? Like you send that to the animator?
Yeah. So I'm like looking at image. All this stuff is just based off some nerdy thing that I am inspired by. But I'll just send him this, and I'm like, look, I want this feeling, him rising up. Let's see if I have.
I think that's super funny.
Yeah, but that's it. So let me send this to him right now.
Okay, so these here are combined as separate. Block out. I'll call this like building block.
I'm sending some stuff to the animator so he can start animating it so we can put it in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Tran feels that you guys are bored. They're not bored. This is what it is.
Okay, so this is good. And I'll re-export this. As like second floor block. And let's just jump into here. Hey, Bobby.
Okay, so let me send this.
I wonder if any of you guys like live in LA. I'm going to import this mesh.
Kick Cot's ass.
This is like a really gigantic mesh for Marvelous, so everything gets it gets difficult. Oops, I meant to add. By difficult is like Marvelous is scale based, and it likes to like kind of rotate or navigate like in this area. So when you build things like off that pivot, it acts all weird. Let's just change these colors because.
Okay, there we go.
Because it's way too bright. And this, the weird thing is, I think it's a shadow. I can go to my scene. I mean, I should be able to rotate my lighting. I don't adjust the lighting a lot here.
Palm Springs area. Palm Springs is nice.
Palm Springs is really nice.
Look at Bobby Lee being Frank Sinatra. I said Bobby Lee. Bobby R being Frank Sinatra. I just saw a video with Bobby Lee. That's why I said Bobby Lee.
This is the light. Okay, it doesn't do anything. I'll just ignore it. I think this is shadow. Okay, I'll just ignore it. Let's save this. I'll call this like second floor. And let me save this because I don't want to redo any of that. When it's nice. Hot though. I imagine it's pretty hot. I think the weather on the coast is always like nicer. Okay, so I want to build part of this floor. I probably should have like kind of determined where half that line is. But I think I can kind of guess. And I think this time I'll build this. I mean, I guess it's not really this time. I've been using this a lot. But I'll draw like, let's draw a line.
What is that line for?
Just where I want to draw this rug.
Oh, I see.
And then here, because I'm not planning this very well. So, I mean, what would be nice is if I build like a rug path like that, like this following this blue outline, and this mirrors over. What I mean, like I'm not drawing very well, is that this is not precise. So if I'm not like, because I'm freehanding it. So if this is like kind of slightly crooked and then when it mirrors over, I could just have a gap like that. Like I kind of need to know like the precise math. I mean, this is how it is.
Bobby's asking, why do we use Alembic and not FBX? The main reason is So I have to look into the newer FBX formats, but our rigs they have a lot of deformation stuff. They have a lot of complexity to them, and the rigs just will not come in to Unreal. So it would always give us errors all the time. That's part one. Part two is we also do a lot of shot modeling, much less on this one than on Voice in the Hollow, like substantially less.
Yeah,
But shot modeling gives you the flexibility that you could go in and clean up any little thing.
yeah, and I think that's the thing too. Like, shot modeling is part of like every film pipeline, like every film pipeline. And for anyone who's not sure what that is, it's like you're just correcting the sculpt on top of an animation.
I just think about ZBrush with a timeline. Imagine if you could import an alembic into ZBrush and just sculpt with the timeline.
Yeah, and you need that, right? Like you can't rig something so perfect, or you just want to adjust the expression or whatever. But every single film pipeline has it, but it's not really talked about. So like, when we teach at Gnomon, a lot of students don't even realize that's a thing until they're taught.
It's like Botox for VFX. Like no one wants to admit that someone just goes in and manually cleans it up because it's much more sexy to go, we created a proprietary muscle system that does blah, 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 blah. And I remember hearing that like a Digital Domain, they would say all this stuff about their high-end muscle system. And it ultimately all came down to just a handful of modelers hand sculpting the bicep, getting tense or whatever, in a back room somewhere and not getting any credit for it.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. Because they don't get credit for it, and that's kind of one of the things that sucks. But it's like not a known thing. So when we, like we would have discussions with the people at Epic, the Unreal guys, and it was just something they were not like quite privy to either.
Yeah, it's funny because it's one of those things that a lot of people don't even realize exists. Like, what is shot modeling? And it's so niche that a lot of people just don't even know it exists. But like when they get out of school and they go to work, they don't even know it's a thing. And there's not a lot of like job openings for it. It's one of those like black arts of VFX, but
Yeah.
it's used all the time because you just fix everything up. You could just go in and fix every little thing. We were just watching Pinocchio, the movie, which is the movie, what you like it or not, that's we're not going to talk about that. But one of the things we kept noticing in the first sequence where the little kid is on the swing is like how there's this big gap between the eyeballs and the eyelids. And Tran just kept saying like how much it freaks her out because it looks like those like nightmare dolls that she had growing up that
Let me see if I can pull up.
would have like a big gap. And we just kept thinking, oh, if that was in CG, you would have shot modeled that and gotten that tighter so it didn't look so freaking creepy. Because technically speaking, if that were real, you'd be able to look down into the eye and like see the brain. You know what I mean?
When I was a kid, I was super afraid of dolls, and I didn't understand how any other kid liked them. Like this is what scared me. Like
That
this,
gap right there.
yeah, like this hole, right? So, you know that this is what Miguel means.
Yeah, but zoom into that gap in the corner there, the bottom one.
Yeah, like right
That
here. And I'm like, oh my god.
so in shot model in the Pinocchio movie, it happens during animation. Not these dolls are because they have to function or whatever. But in the Pinocchio one, it happens during the animation, and
Look at this
you
one.
would be able to fix that so easily with shot modeling if it was digital.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Let me take that out. But those were my nightmares. Were those actual dolls?
If you go back and watch it, just watch that sequence. You'll see the little kid, because Tran kept saying that, I think the movie's really beautiful, and so we like it. We're not trashing the movie, but that you kind of don't sympathize for the kid that much early on because he's so creepy looking, and it's
Well,
because of the eyes.
yeah, when you try to make your own stuff, you start trying to study everything around you. So I'm like always looking at things super clear and just extra, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, like it makes me think of like of these things, and just like I remember I would get like dolls like that as gifts, and I'd be like, oh no, like why is this my gift? And they'd be like, you love it, don't you? And I'm like, no. And then my parents would be like, you can't say that. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And so then I would keep getting these dolls, and they would be in my room, and then I would try to like hide it in the closet. But then when I would hide them in the closet at night, I would just think like there's a scary doll in my closet. So those things haunted me. And so when I would see that, I'm like, I just, I just can't connect to that.
Mhm.
Okay. So now I have the correct mesh. I think I need to adjust that shape here. And then I'm just going to adjust this here if I can. Sometimes these points are like really difficult to adjust. Let's do it again. Extremely difficult to adjust.
Ian Spriggs did this. They hired him at the Vegas Sphere to do like this giant character, and it's being projected on that giant sphere. Looks so incredible. I just saw a clip of it. It's cool.
Yeah, he's doing like really awesome stuff.
Yeah, he's like a modeler that has managed to make a career out of like fine art, which is pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. Okay, so maybe it performs better when I do have less points. Okay, so that's actually a little bit nicer. So this will be like my shape, and I'm gonna kind of be stuck with it. That's why I want it to be really good. It is hard seeing the top with this thing. I can hide that, but I think that's okay. I'll just let it be flawed, and then let's try to flatten that shape out, and then hopefully this shape is decent. Okay, it is. Let's try to rotate this straight. That actually came out pretty good. Let me save this.
So you're gonna put like a rug piece there?
Yeah, because I don't have a floor on the top.
Couldn't you use this for that other section, the rotunda? It's different.
This is like interpenetrating smashed together kind of shape.
Yeah, the other one is all
Like the other
all
one's like,
thought out and
yeah, they just
for the
don't
size.
they just don't fit. And then here I'm going to clean this because if I don't need this many points, you don't want it because it makes it really slow.
Bobby just checked out Ian Spriggs. Yeah, Ian Spriggs is incredible. He's such a nice guy too.
Yeah, he's a master portrait guy. Okay, let's clean this out. I don't want this many dots. Okay, so I have a lot of these curve points. I can live with that, but all these dots here, like these points make things difficult. I wish there was like, okay, I can convert it. So I usually like delete this stuff. It's a lot of points. I'm going to try to select them, which is kind of tedious. Selection is still difficult. It's gotten a lot better. And let's see what it does when I try to convert this. Okay, so now they're like these red dots with too many dots. I can just try to delete most of them. I want to keep them a little bit more evenly spaced.
Let's adjust this shot.
Okay. Show us how you're adjusting it.
Well, I gotta open it first.
Okay, so now that I kind of have the main points, I'll just delete these points around it. There's a lot of tedious work in this stuff. I'm kind of really used to it. I don't become aware of it until I'm streaming. Okay, so cool. This is clean. I have like a really clean mesh now. I'm going to save this because I'm probably going to ruin it. And I'll just hide this, hide that avatar because it's just kind of hard to see. But now I have my rug shape. And I have to just start cutting it up. I think kind of an easy thing that would look nice. would be to just grab these shapes here. Oops. I don't need the points here. Let's get rid of these. Okay, so let's grab these again. And I'll offset this internal line. And then this will be like a you know, I'm just patterning now, like a rug border. Let's make it like 20 centimeters.
So like,
And then I'll do this curve, offset as internal line, also at 20. Okay, so now I kind of have like an interesting start.
I see what I did wrong.
Let's just cut this off. Okay, so that's another piece. When you cut like do cut and sew, it does change that mesh. So like now I have a ton of points here. And I'll just sit here and go to my fabric property. I can't see the line anymore. And I just want to see my pattern. And the reason why I can't see it is because they're just different. It's not an internal line anymore. So what I can do here is just create another fabric property and just do that. So now I can see like my pattern. And I'm going to just go to internal lines. And I don't know if I want to just make up some crap. I mean, I'm always making up crap. Okay. Maybe what I'll try here is just see what I get if I keep splitting this.
I realize what this needs.
What are you trying to? Are you analyzing your edit?
No, so I'm like looking at this and I'm like, how could this be better? And it's like he should not make that fist until right there. Clank. Do you know what I mean? By him doing the fist there, he's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And you get what that means. But there was just already there.
You want to see him like you want to draw out that beat.
Yeah. He's the best.
Mayo.
Yeah.
I love Mayo. Mayo is my favorite character for sure.
All right, let's take a look at the camera. View select camera.
Okay, so some of the curves here are like kind of they get a little stiff. I guess that's the word. Or they just kind of are not smooth. And I think it's because it just generates too many points.
Set key. Set key.
Bobby says it's probably one of his favorite characters too.
All right, so let's see how that acts. Gotta get rid of this. Key.
What?
View. Now just making sure it.
It's hard to work and think.
There you go.
What are you doing?
Just adjusting the camera.
Oh, here's a good question. What did you think of Nosferatu?
I thought it was really awesome. I thought I loved the way he looked. I was surprised by how he looked. In the best of ways. The fact that I didn't know if I liked it for half the movie, and then by the end I loved it, is always a good thing. Where you're like, wait a minute, because it's going against what you think. But then when you look at photos of like Vlad the Impaler and people from that era at that time, it's like it's exactly what he would look like. I thought that was amazing. I thought the production design, Lily Rose, is like really fantastic. Like she stole the show. I still think
You can't help but compare it to.
yeah, I still think Coppola's is the better one, primarily because I think it solves a lot of the problems with the story to begin with, right? Like I find Nosferatu's plan to be very convoluted in the Nosferatu one. Like he already knows about Lily Rose's character, and he's doing this stuff with a real estate agent, and then bringing Thomas or whatever his name is I think it's Thomas, to his castle to sign a paper so that he could go back. What I kind of like about the Coppola one is that it's almost like driven by fate. Like he's buying this property, and when Keanu's character comes and he sees the locket, which is in both of the stories, but the locket is the moment of realization, like, oh my God, I know this person. This is like that, like fate has brought us together. And I find that to be more beautiful. The Coppola one is much sexier and romantic, and then this one is much more uh dare I say rapey. It's just really messed up, more animalistic, but I loved it. I thought it was amazing, and thank God we have both versions. And
No,
yeah,
I haven't seen it, but like, are they based on the same source material?
they're both based off. They're both Dracula.
They're both Dracula, right?
Yeah. So
And
when Dracula came out, um, when the Universal Dracula movie came out, it came out after Nosferatu, but the rights holders were still alive. Like it was still under patent. So these German filmmakers tried to go around the copyright by changing the way he looks and calling it Nosferatu and whatever. But it's the same story essentially. So the Nosferatu is essentially a ripoff of Dracula.
Did they get sued?
They got sued. I don't remember what the outcome was, but I know that like they were very aware of it, and the film might have not seen, the light of day, but it's so influential in its lighting and everything. Like the German expressionist stuff was just so strong at that time, and their lighting was so much better that it's still creepy as hell. No, what's kind of awesome about it is a lot of those old movies, almost the more aged they get, the scarier they look because the grain structure is more dense. It just feels creepier. It's like when you look at old Halloween photos of children, how they just look creepier as how just because the photo the way the photos develop, the grain, the tint of the if there is color, it just looks much creepier. And I think Nosferatu is creepier because of the limitations on the film. So I loved it. I think it's
I
I
think
think yeah. What's cool
also
is a lot of those sets are still there. Like you could go to Germany and go to like a lot of the sets where Nosferatu's like just roam or Max Schreck is roaming the German streets. Like they're just still there. It's pretty awesome.
it's like the costuming in Coppola is like incredible.
Yeah, it's not Coppola's is completely inaccurate, right? Like it's so over the top, but it's more of a fairy tale. That this one is much more like grounded in what everything would actually be like. Like Dracula would not be wearing a red bat suit with beautiful crazy lines going across it like
But
uh
like the bride's costuming,
yeah, but it's all over the top.
it
Yeah.
is, but it's almost like the set itself,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like the clothing becomes like a production design quality.
yeah, and the big complaint that people have with the Coppola Dracula is Keanu Reeves as acting. They think well, a lot of the acting, not just Keanu's. Gary Oldman's acting, everybody agrees is incredible, but it almost works to its advantage in a way because the thing is, when you actually look at Dracula, the Thomas character, the boyfriend or the fiance or the husband, whatever you want to call him, he's supposed to be like this. He's the obstacle in the way of Dracula and Mina or whatever she's called in the Nosferatu one. He's an obstacle between them, right? He almost becomes in the Coppola one in particular, he becomes kind of the bad guy in a way. Like it becomes a
I
love
don't know if you want
story.
to show my screen.
Yeah, you could show your screen.
Yeah.
It becomes a love story between two characters, Mina and Dracula, and then Thomas uh, or in the Coppola was Jonathan becomes the obstacle. Point of this is there's a lot of like hidden sexuality in not even hidden. There's a lot of like sexual repression in the movie, and the way Gary Oldman is played is he is the cool, sexy, guys want to be him, women want to be with him kind of guy. And Keanu Reeves is supposed to be kind of like the dunce, right? He's supposed to be kind of like the dummy. And by his acting not being on par with Gary Oldman, it almost works because you're just like, who is this idiot? Let's go back to Gary Oldman. And I think Keanu's awesome. So this is I'm not saying anything bad about Keanu, but I'm saying in that story, if you were to critique his acting, like it almost works to its advantage because he just feels like a guy that is, this is too much for him. He can't handle this. He can't handle that wife. She's too much for him. She's too woman for him. And but Gary Oldman can. Do you see what I'm saying? Not just in the acting, but in the character. It all kind of serves the same thing. Gary Oldman can handle it. He's the man. He's the one that Mina actually wants. And Jonathan is like the goody two shoes that she's going to end up marrying to make her mom happy. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Like, Gary Oldman's acting makes him really compelling. Like you feel like even though she has this other, her regular life, that you do see like how cool Gary Oldman is. So,
Yeah, there's no question. Gary Oldman is the coolest thing ever. Hold on, let me do that. Gary Oldman is incredible in that movie, and the romance is so amazing. And my favorite thing about the Coppola version is that it's not just a movie about love and sexuality, but it's also like a religious movie as well, which I love religious themes. And it's this guy that has dedicated himself to protect the honor of the church, right? And then when Mina dies, he feels betrayed by God. Like, I gave everything to you, and this is the only thing that I wanted, was this love that I had with this woman, and you took her away from me. And then by the end of the movie, when he dies in the church, which is the same place he was kind of reborn as Dracula,
yeah, like he curses.
his face comes back to his youth and beautiful, handsome self as he's looking up to the ceiling, which has all the religious stuff on it. To me, it's like God realized, like, oh fuck, I fucked up. You have been forgiven. And he's been forgiven after killing thousands of people over thousands of years and ripping people's throats and whatever. And he's just like, I screwed up. You have been forgiven. So I don't know. I think it's the most beautiful and romantic film ever made is Bram Stoker's Dracula. So that's makes me more critical of Nosferatu, but I loved it. Is what I'm saying. It's a long-winded version of saying I'm glad both exist. I'm not in the camp that feels like why would they remake that kind of thing? Like, I think they're gonna keep remaking that for 1,000 years, and that's great.
Yeah. But I think it's cool that that um that director is the one who remade it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like I don't think there's a better director.
No, and it's so cool that like he got William Dafoe to play in it, and William Dafoe played Nosferatu in the past in The Shadow of a Vampire, which is a really cool movie about how Max Schreck, the actor that played the original Nosferatu, was actually a real vampire, and they hired him to play a vampire in the movie.
Oh, that's what that movie is?
Yeah, it's super cool. So because Max Schreck, when you really look at him, you're like, you want to talk about like an iconic creature design. Holy crap, that thing looks amazing. The fingers, the hair, or the lack of hair, the ears, the nose, the teeth. It's holy crap, did they crush that character design.
What's the name of the movie?
Nosferatu.
No, but like you saying Max
Oh,
Schreck.
Shadow of Vampire.
I have not seen that.
And William Dafoe plays Nosferatu, and he does a great job because he kind of looks like him. So now he's playing the role of basically, um, what's his face? The vampire hunter. Let me see.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. He's Van Helsing. He's basically the Van Helsing character in Nosferatu now. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Let me see if I could find Shadow of Vampire. Came out in 2000. I used to have this on back in DVD. I mean, William Dafoe is a national treasure.
Yeah, he's incredible.
To me, it's a crime that William Dafoe was never cast to play the Joker, because he's just the most perfect face for.
You're right. He totally would be the best Joker.
But his face structure is like perfect for that old school 1970s Joker.
I always liked to see him in interviews. He seems like such
A cool guy, right?
yeah, he just seems so likable. What am I doing here? So I'm just doing patterning. I'm trying to come up with some kind of pattern. And I've split these curve into the same number of points, and I'm just drawing lines based on the distance of points and seeing what I get to see if I get something that makes sense. Basically, if you create, like, I don't know, to me, like one of the tricks of a pattern that works is just make all the spacing make sense, and then it's all going to work out. Although I don't think I'm not really succeeding, to be honest. Like, I'm looking at this and going, I don't know. Like, it's too dramatic.
I big time recommend you rewatch Coppola's Dracula. Yeah. You know, I do wish they I wish you could see Bram Stoker's I'm stuttering my words because I'm trying to phrase it in a way to not offend anybody. How do I say it nicely? I'm not going to say it, actually. That's how I want to say it.
Yeah.
I just think it's an incredible movie. I think the production design is the greatest. I think his take on the story is the best ever. The romance of it, like I was saying, is the best. The arcs of the characters are amazing.
Yeah.
And I think Gary Oldman is the greatest. That moment as a kid when you realize that Gary Oldman is, like, you know, before he becomes a famous person in your head, he probably was already famous when I realized this, but when you realize, like, oh my God, the Dracula guy is the same guy as the guy from The Professional and is the same guy as the guy from True Romance, and then you're like,
he's like,
this guy's amazing.
He just becomes the character.
Yeah.
I even thought that, like, when he was in Christopher Nolan's movie, he was Commissioner Gordon.
He's great.
He really feels like Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, he's the best.
Like, you don't see the actor at all. Like, meaning, like, I don't see Gary Oldman. I see the character he's playing. And a lot of times, like, it's hard to not see the actor.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just freehanding this pattern. I can make it easier. Maybe I don't know. I could just make this more geometric. And just be like, it's done. Okay.
All right, let's see.
I don't know if I want to do all these kind of curve things. What I mean, like, by making it geometric is just like, I'm not feeling the flow today. It's like, just make a series of lines.
What the hell?
What's going on in your thing?
It's not playing it back correctly. Okay, that's correct. So why is this not?
Let's try again. What if I do this?
Oh, that's not the. It's not the right file. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Play blast H.264.
This is like really actually a massive piece of the floor. Like this is like really huge. Like they would be like this big on this. Okay, so this idea sucks too. Maybe what I need is to not see.
Bastard.
If I didn't see these red lines, I would have easier time, or all those little dots. Okay, I think I'm just stuck seeing this.
I think this needs to be a little bit longer. Okay.
What you doing?
Just changing the cameras around.
Why don't you show what you're doing?
This is going to be a fun little sequence.
So the way you work is you tell the animator what you want. Like, what do you do? Like, do you block out?
I've shown you, like, I'll do like drawings and stuff like that. I haven't been doing it so much for this because we've been so busy. But I'll send them like those images, like the Magneto one, and I'll write to him like a long. He has a script, which is a big thing.
And then once he does pass, you then get his animation.
And then he'll send me the file. I'll change the camera or whatever. Like right now, he sent me this last night, and I'm like, no, he can't close his eyes like this yet, because then you won't see what comes next, right? I need him to do this. Zort rises up, da 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 da, and then he could go into this. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I always want to see things from the character's point of view. So if he closes his eyes like this,
He can't. There's no POV.
now we're looking at it from someone else's point of view, and I don't want that. I want it to always be from his point of view. Let's see. There's actually I don't know if you haven't mentioned it, so I'm assuming you didn't notice, but if you look at his hand here, see he's punching him with the gloved hand. Do you see that?
Yeah. Is that intentional? I mean, I guess Mayo.
But look, you're still not seeing it.
What am I seeing?
Follow the gloved hand.
I am following it. There's a. Why don't you just tell me, because I'm not catching it?
Look, what is that glove hand doing?
It's punching Zord.
Okay, now where is that glove hand here?
Not there.
That was me just in editing realizing like that's not what he has isn't working. Let me grab another thing from another part of another shot and combine it to make it look like he's getting punched there. He's not getting punched there.
Oh, he's not getting punched there. It's just that you edited it.
I edited it to feel like that's continuous. It's not.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
So it's just like a editing trick.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, it's just like now I'll send it back to him and he's gonna fix it and he'll put it in the right place. But at this point, I just got to get the flow of things like that, boom, right? Let's keep that momentum going as quick as possible. So I just wanted to move. So like, I wish this was a little bit faster, like the pulling up. Maybe not. It's cool. I like that turning around. I love that.
Which part? Like that? When Zort turns around?
Yeah. He just has to hit the horns there again. And then I just want like the ultimate Magneto shot of him rising up, the red lightning, and you're like, oh my God, Zort is Zort. He's the most powerful of all the Threadlings, and we see it here. So that's it.
And he's basically gonna, yeah, Zort. They just don't stand a chance against him.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I got my pattern flow. I just went back to this wavy thingy. And now I'm just noodling the curves. Because if it doesn't look right, I'm just kind of just stuck with it. So it's like my chance to correct anything. But I don't think, most people would notice. But you don't want to build like You don't want to build like that. Okay, it's also really slow because this piece of cloth is really big. So sometimes I don't know. It just takes longer. Maybe kind of like how this straight line stuff looks. I'm just trying to find like rhythm. Okay, that's not working. Okay, so that doesn't work.
I think that just works like it is. It's just simple.
Yeah, but the pieces have to be cut up more because they're too big.
I see.
Um,
Oh, because of the scale.
yeah, and then the texturing.
I see.
So I just have to figure out how to split it.
Well, the good thing is we haven't had any internet outages.
Oh, you just jinxed it. Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah, it was tough. Like our internet was going out, electricity was going out, but the good thing is like we have
Our problems are so insignificant to the rest of the city.
yeah,
It's
the
like,
city.
That's fine.
Yeah, I realized that. I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
No, we're lucky. But our internet was going down, and then what I was trying to say was like we have like backup battery. So way back when we realized like when you start doing your own projects, like if your electricity cuts out or you have a surge, your like computer like in your hard drives could be all damaged just from that.
Yeah.
And so we have like we each have like our own battery for our computers. So if the electricity cuts out, we're protected with surge protection, and we have like 30 minutes of operating time to like shut down and save everything.
Mhm.
Which I recommend for anyone here that is doing their own film. What you don't want is to like lose all your work. So it's a good idea to invest. Ted asked, Tran and Miguel, are you guys okay with LA fires?
Yeah, we're blessed. We're so far away from it.
Yeah, you know, the scenery is not great, but it's like bizarre, but yeah. We're really lucky. I just think that the air is like super bad. So it's like really not good. And they're just there's just advisory you stay inside. So like the first few days, and again, we're really lucky, so I'm not complaining. Just talking about the condition, definitely not complaining. You could just smell the smoke everywhere, and our eyes were like just burning.
Yeah, you could smell it in our studio. Like you could just smell it perfectly.
Yeah, it smells like you're like, you know, you guys are probably like burnt toast or whatever. So, but it's like you didn't burn anything, and it feels like it's there.
Like your eyes get like watery. You're like, what is going on? Why are they itchy? And then you're like, oh shit, I remember. And since I'm a big toy nerd, I have air purifiers everywhere to keep dust from my toys. And luckily, we have a ton of air purifiers and like really big, strong, powerful ones.
Yeah, we have multiple purifiers.
But the big one that we have that, I mean, I got this 2 months ago. That thing is gigantic, and it's I bet you can't get that right now. I bet you it's all sold out. I bet you it's hard to get.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So like we would sell it in our unit, but if we like stepped outside, it was like, whoa.
yeah.
Again, not complaining, just it's just crazy that it's like that. And we are like a safe distance. I know that there's also like little fires that are happening in downtown. They're just not, they just get put out. But there's like buildings that are, you know, are catching fire, but just not blowing up as big as this other fires at all. Like not even close. Fire it was the shortest. Sorry. That's why we're back here.
What happened?
He said Ted said Friday's stream was the shortest.
Friday's stream was like 15 minutes long, and then yeah,
Everything went bloop.
that's why we're back on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to feel the flow. I do like doing patterning work. So I guess this task like suits me.
I'm going to export this here. Let's go. Media. What am I calling this? Let's call this fight.
So Miguel is like saving files in case you're wondering what he's doing on his machine. Okay. I think this pattern may be getting busy. So the issue I have is like as it is right now, it's like definitely enough. It's just the pieces are just really big.
Oh, crap. Let me see.
So like each square here is like a 1 UDIM. And I want to keep the resolution really good because you never know with, you know, whatever happens with the camera. But what you don't want is like, man, this takes so much effort to just do all this stuff. And it comes out low res. So the way my resolution works, oops, I did not mean to go to the sculpting menu.
Netbug says he's surprised you're not traumatized from making all those patterns.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Why is it all white here?
Let's save this as 31.
Yes, material turned white. Okay, there it is. So the way that my resolution works is I just use this actual scale, right? I don't like try to rescale it down. And each one of these squares is 1 UDIM. So that gives you an idea. I can't see the internal lines, but I already know like one strip of this is not going to fit. So I need to figure out how to break it down, and not have like I just need to minimize it somehow. I mean, I could try to also offset this again. Instead of 35, I do half, so 17 and a half. Okay, so then this gives me all these extra lines. Some of them are overlapping, so it's having issues.
My project keeps crashing.
I don't know, so I could divide this in half again. It looks like I'm a mess. It might work. I'm just losing track of. I'm like getting confused at the lines, like literally.
You have so many lines now that you don't even know what is what.
No, I don't. Like,
okay, so let's see. So Threadlings.
oops, I lost that middle one. Okay, so
Venom Hollow Slayer says, yo. What's up, Venom Hollow Slayer? How is everybody? Everybody's good.
We'll speak for everyone. Everyone's awesome.
Yeah, everybody's fine. We're fine. Los Angeles is not so fine.
Okay, so that's like my pattern here. I feel like it maybe should end here. Let's see. Let's add point to intersection. Let's divide that point. Like maybe that works better. That doesn't cut all the way through. Well, this is a big open question. Just curious, what's the hardest effect to pull off in VFX? Is it water, hair, fire?
I think humans are still the hardest because they've never really made a fully convincing human yet.
That's true, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the difficulty, like if you break into those things like hair and water and all that stuff, I think it just depends on the person, to be honest. Like every skill is a lot of work. I mean, one of the first things you do learn how to do is model, but anyone can model something very basic, but if you take modeling to a high level, it's very difficult. So anything done well is hard. He says Ian'sburg is getting close. Well, I don't think it's about the look so much as like I think he gets his characters to look like really real. It's like the performance that has to follow through. Right? So it's like having it usually, when you watch a movie, like you can have like very convincing like still frames, but the moment the character talks, it's just not there. So it's something more complex than just like the modeling of it.
Yeah, I think the modeling they have it. It's all the performance stuff.
Yeah. Like it just can't breathe the same way. And I still think it's hard to make things feel tangible. Okay, so some of this flow is weird. You show what you're doing. It's actually super interesting.
Is it?
Yeah.
So this is me sending this to the animator. So showing him it's the wrong hand. more running.
So that's like
Mayo
the notes.
needs to move more here.
So those are the notes you're giving.
Yeah. And then you can see here. Mayo's going to fall up to the ceiling here. More scared before I close. And then bam, Zort rises up like Magneto. Lightning. And then probably have them something like this. Have little whatever the hell he's going to be doing. And then that'll be 1. And then I'll do something like that.
And what is that? What is that green guy? That's Mayo.
No, this is Zort in different stages.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3. And that's who's that guy at the end on the left?
Caught.
Okay.
Something like that. Let's make this So anyway, that's what I gotta say. Oh shit, I gotta go. I gotta go to a meeting at 2 on the dot on Zoom, and it's gonna be with the camera on, so I have to brush my hair. All right.
Okay, guys.
All right, guys, that's it. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Here we go.